Real quickly, I just wanted to compare this box to the Razer 40 Ultra box. First of all, it says Razer in like a reflective color, so it like gleams in the light, which is kind of cool. That's the actual print of the word Razer, not just because there's the plastic still on it. The Razer box is taller, thicker, although not by much. Only a very small amount, just a little bit thicker, and it is slightly wider. But the Razer screen is also bigger, so the height difference of the box and the width difference of the box is probably because the Razer has a bigger screen, and the Razer comes in the box unfolded flat instead of folded up like that, where it has a much smaller profile. I just real quickly want to compare this size-wise to a couple of other phones. This right here is the Motorola Edge Plus 2020 model, so 2 years old now. It is only slightly wider and slightly taller, and it's hard to tell because this has rounded edges, but this one is thicker. Not by much, though. This is the Motorola G100. When this first came out, it was the most powerful Motorola G ever. Since then, they've made the Moto G200, which I think is even more powerful. But it does have a Snapdragon 8 series processor. So when it came out, it was the most powerful Motorola ever. Because most of the time, G series have the budget processors, not the Snapdragon 8 series processors. Those ones are for the flagship phones. But this has this absolute gorgeous purple to blue. They call it iridescent ocean. It's absolutely beautiful. It is quite a bit heavier than the Motorola Edge Plus. It is longer. It is not any wider. They're the same width, but it is longer. So this guy has a 20:9 aspect ratio, and this guy has a 21:9 aspect ratio. So screen same width, but it is taller. This guy also has 4 cameras. One of the nice things that they did, which I appreciate, is that one of these cameras is the regular 50 megapixel camera, and then the other one is an ultra wide, which also doubles as a macro camera. And there is no depth camera, which is just an extra lens, which is not used. This guy here, we have the main camera up here, we have the macro camera here, we have the ultra wide here, and then over here we have a 3D depth of field sensor. The G100 I really like because how pretty it is, but this phone looks and feels just far more premium. Even the cameras right here, the circles don't have to be that big, but they are. And it looks like, if I was walking down the road and I saw someone with that, I'd be like, wow, that's pretty. But those cameras look kind of dinky, like just small and underperforming. And it's true, too. I paid way more for this, and it doesn't have optical image stabilizer. It doesn't have OIS. So the low light photos are shaky. Even like action photos are shaky. So I don't get the best of quality photos with this. And I was kind of disappointed. For as much as I paid, its processing power is through the roof. It can play any game, no problem, which most Motorola Gs can't play, or they can play the highest end games. It just doesn't look very good. But this one, fantastic. Just the cameras are okay, but just okay. It's not a fantastic camera. Fantastic processor, not a fantastic camera. Another thing too is this guy has an IPS LCD display, while this one has the actual OLED display. Another reason I am anticipating this being one of the best phones you can get for $250 is because while the phone does have bezels, they are very minimal. The bezel here at the top is barely any deeper than the speaker we have up here. Bezels on the side are about as thin as you can get them, really. And then there is no chin at the bottom. Most of these phones, you can see here on this one that the bottom chin, it's not much more, and it's kind of deceptive because the screen protector doesn't go all the way to the bottom, but the chin here is more than the chin on this one. So even though the G100 is a much more expensive phone, it has a bigger bezel at the bottom than this one does. And at the top here, it has a bigger bezel as well. And again, the screen protector is a little bit deceiving because it goes over part of the bezel. So the bezel isn't from the top of the phone to the screen protector. It's the top of the phone to right up there where the little black bar is moving. This one has the optical thumbprint sensor under the screen. The Moto G100 has the fingerprint sensor here on the power button. I kind of do like the power button just a little bit better because if you get a tempered glass screen protector, it can mess with your fingerprint sensor on the screen. But having a fingerprint sensor on the screen is definitely more premium. Another thing that we're looking at best $250 phone with the G84 here is the peak brightness. This one is at max brightness right now, which is only, I want to say 600 nits, whereas, oh, I haven't set this one up, so I can't pull this down. But I don't think this one's at max brightness because it can go up to well over 1,000. I think it's like 1,200 nits or something like that. So we're talking 90 hertz refresh rate and 120 hertz refresh rate. We're talking OLED here, while this is just a regular LCD. We're talking smaller bezels. We're talking much thinner. We're talking lighter. Way lighter. They both have the headphone jack. This one, however, has a loudspeaker at the bottom and a loudspeaker at the top, while this guy only has the bottom loudspeaker. The top speaker right here is only for calls and is not a loudspeaker. This one feels much more premium with the leather feeling back versus this just slick plastic. The Moto G100 has expandable SD card storage, but it only has 128 gigs of internal storage and 8 gigs of RAM, while the G84 has 256 gigs of internal storage and 12 gigs of RAM. So we're looking at a lot of premium features in this one that the Moto G100 is a little bit lacking on. Both of these phones, surprisingly, have a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. Now, when this one first came out, Motorola admitted that it's the most powerful Moto G ever. It's a little bit heavy, and that's because they crammed a massive battery in there. But this guy is way lighter, and yet it still has a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. Also, not having an 8 series Snapdragon chip, it'll probably last a lot longer because it'll have a much more power efficient, a less demanding chip. As far as advertised features go, this one sounds fantastic, so I'm just gonna have to test it out and see how it works for daily use.